Shawn Michaels pinned Big Van Vader to retain the WWF title. Meltzer would note that Vader had very noticeably dropped some weight. You got something here, Bruce?
Yeah, come on, man. Vader wrestled the most exciting, the most electrifying, the most charismatic superstar in the WWF, Shawn Michaels. Did you? I actually wrote that down as he was right before Shawn came out. It's time for the most exciting, the most electrifying, the most charismatic WW. And they hit Shawn's music. And I'm just thinking to myself now going, I wonder if I called that music a little early for Vince. Or and I tried to go back to my thinking at that time, thinking, oh shit, is Vince cueing me to get to the music, or should I have waited?
Yeah.
But I killed the fuck out of it, yeah.
But Michaels has really got his working boots on here, and I think you could make an argument that, this era Shawn Michaels through when he leaves in, March of 98, is probably, the best in-ring performer ever. The match here has some interesting spots. There is a spot where Shawn does a top rope tope to the floor onto Vader and then slides back into the ring and then does like a Hulk Hogan spoof where he pretends to rip a T-shirt off for the crowd and then kind of makes a goofy face to the camera. And you guys at the time were kind of doing a lot of comparing about the main event. The undercard for WCW may have been stronger and had a better work rate, but when you compared the top of the cards, the WWF main events to the WCW main events, there's no comparison between Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels in 96. Wouldn't you agree?
I wholeheartedly agree. I think that Shawn Michaels was the single best in-ring performer in the world at that point in time.
Eventually, we see Shawn go to the top and goes to jump off onto Vader, and for whatever reason, something is miscommunicated. Shawn lands on his feet and is very frustrated, leans down in Shawn's face or Vader's face and yells, "Move," and then kicks him in the head, says "move," and kicks him in the head again. Eventually they're up. Shawn is still talking, and then they take the tumble to the floor. When Vader gets back to his feet, he presses Shawn, drops him across the guardrail, and Vader wins by countout. Cornette starts ranting and raving. He doesn't want a countout win. He wants the title and challenges Shawn to restart the match. The match is restarted, so Vader goes after Jose Lothario, which gives Cornette a chance to use the racket on Shawn. Vader has some more success, but eventually Shawn gets the racket and hits Vader and Cornette with it several times. So 2 minutes later, we've got a DQ. And now Vader has won a second time. The first time by countout, the second time by DQ. And now Cornette is asking for the match to be restarted as they're doing a big pull-apart. Gorilla Monsoon okays it. Finally, we get Shawn to hit the super kick, but Vader kicks out, and the crowd is shocked. There's a ref bump. Vader hits the power bomb, and there's no ref to count the fall. So a second ref comes in, but now Shawn kicks out. So Vader climbs up for the Vader bomb. Cornette tells him to go even higher for the moonsault. Of course, Vader misses. Shawn climbs to the top, hits a moonsault body block, and gets the pin after about 3 minutes of the third restart. The match got 4 stars in the Observer, but what everybody's talked about is the fallout of this match and the miscue inside of it that caused Shawn to apparently campaign to have Vader removed from the future plans in the main event. So we talked about it in our Vader episode, but not everybody's heard that, Bruce. Catch us up. What happened in the match? What'd you think of the match? What can you share with us about what the plan was supposed to be, and then what actually happened?
The match itself, I thought, was very good. You got the miscues that for people that know, and you see what happened. The spot that was a miscue was Shawn had told Vader to move on Shawn coming off the top rope with an elbow, and Shawn got up to the top rope and went to jump, and Vader wasn't moving. So instead of dropping an elbow on him, he just jumped, kicked Vader in the head, and said, "I said move," and Leon just laid there. So that was frustration on Shawn's part, and probably, a little bit of immaturity there too, getting pissed off. They go into it, and again, you look at this thing hindsight, you know the problems, and you know what everybody was upset about after the fact. After the second false finish, if you will, after the second DQ, when Shawn pinned Vader and Vader was supposed to kick out, Vader did not kick out. And the referee counted 1, 2, and was slapping down, and Vader didn't kick out. So the referee was stuck he didn't count to 3 because he knew Vader was supposed to count to 3. Shawn actually gets up, and he was pissed because there was no kick out. It's hard when you're live. And a guy, it takes 2 to tango.
Right.
If the guy's laying down on his back and he doesn't kick out when he's supposed to kick out, and you just get up, then you look like the idiot.
Right.
But I think, and again, in defense of Vader, at this point in the match, I think that Leon was just so frustrated as well, because by this point they were miscommunicating and they were kind of all over the place. And Leon, being the kind of guy he's a perfectionist. He wants to do everything right. He wants to please everybody. And I think he was probably so damn worried that what did happen would happen at this point that he wasn't listening and probably just was in another world. But the finish in the match, was a Pat Patterson masterpiece. Pat loved to do those restarts and liked to get creative with that kind of stuff. But for whatever reason, Vader and Shawn, they just didn't click. So after the match, Shawn was livid. Shawn was livid from the spot of Vader not moving. Whether or not Vader hurt him, who knows? Only Vader knows that. And Shawn got pissed off, and then from there, Vader not kicking out on the 3 count or on the 2 count, and Shawn feeling like, well, what the hell am I getting up for? It just was a clash of styles, and Vince reevaluated. The idea was to go to November Survivor Series with Vader and Shawn, and for Vader to become the WWF champion at Survivor Series.
And, of course, that wound up being Sid.
And then it was supposed to go to the Alamo Dome with Vader and Shawn for the return for the championship, where Shawn would then win the title back in his hometown of San Antonio, Texas. Jim Cornette even had an idea when he was going to go out with Vader. This when we were talking about this, like in July, of getting to the Alamo Dome and going out with Vader in a Santa Ana costume, a whole Santa Ana outfit. And for you history buffs, Santa Ana was the Mexican general that defeated all them Tennessee pussies at the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas.
If we don't have somebody Photoshop Jim Cornette's head on Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, we are missing out. That sounds like a good time. I just Googled that dude, and man, this jacket that he's rocking here, this general's outfit, yeah, we needed to see Jim Cornette dressed up like Santa Ana. That's awesome.
Yeah, and just for the record, it wasn't a bunch of Texans that lost at the Alamo. It was the people from Tennessee that had come in to fight. The Tennessee people lost. It wasn't the Texas people who lost, because when the Texans finally got a fight at the Battle of San Jacinto here in Houston, the Texans won.
In hindsight, do you think this was the nail in the coffin for Vader in the WWE?
In hindsight, yes.
How much of that can be contributed to Shawn Michaels being unprofessional? How much can be contributed to Vader just wasn't WWF material?
50-50. I think that, to me, in this match in particular, the first half of it, I thought that Vader had his working shoes on.
Sure.
And they were having a great match. And even after the miscues, again, you take those 2 miscues out of it.
It's a pretty damn good match.
It was a damn great match. But those 2 miscues were huge miscues.
But at the same,
you can miscue in a house show. You could miscue on a tape television show. But when you're live and it's a major deal and it's the first time, moving forward. And I don't know they had the best chemistry in house shows that I remember either.
There's rumor and innuendo out there that at some house show, Shawn was on Vader's case so much that Vader cried, that he was seriously emotionally affected because he felt like he didn't know what to do. Like, hey, I'm hitting you too hard, you're not hitting me enough. And I kind of feel bad for Vader, and I know we've had fun talking about Vader here on the show, and we've had some fun times, but he was a great performer, and he had a huge upside. We had seen that in WCW. He was positioned in a good spot here, and I feel like a lot of his career maybe took a shit because he just didn't hear a spot. Like, isn't it totally plausible that he just didn't hear him? Now, I understand.
It is plausible.
Yeah. I mean, I get that you're supposed to kick out, but, when Shawn's on the top rope, maybe he just didn't fucking hear him.
Yeah. And that's, without a doubt, that's plausible. But it was also the reality of the times. Reality of the times was Shawn was king shit. And if you didn't have chemistry with him and he didn't want to work with you, then next. And Vince would find someone that he felt fit that role. And when you had, and also keep in mind the timing. Warriors now left the company. Sid's back. Sid is the guy that Vince has always looked at as, he has the body, he has the promo, he has that look. Well, now I've got Sid here. God, I could just slide Sid into this, and we're golden.
No, I get it. Let me ask you this, and I'm not saying this to dump on Shawn. In this same show, I've said that I think this run of Shawn is probably the best in-ring performer ever. But catch me up in your opinion, because you may not remember, but did you ever hear or do you believe that Hulk Hogan would have ever handled himself this way, the way Shawn Michaels did, or Bret Hart, or Steve Austin, or The Rock, or John Cena, or any of these top guys that we know have gotten to that next level? Would any of them have behaved towards Vader the same way that Shawn did here, or was Shawn just being kind of petulant?
I think Bret probably would have in a similar situation like that. Bret would get frustrated with guys in the ring sometimes and get pissed off. I don't ever remember Hogan doing anything like that. I would see, Hogan. I'd never seen anything like that with Hogan. I've seen Cena get pissed off with things like that. Everybody's different, and maybe not to the same magnitude that Shawn did, but yeah, guys have gotten pissed off in the ring when things haven't gone right. Maybe they just didn't, maybe they didn't do it on a pay-per-view that everybody saw and everybody, commented on.
Sure.